One of the concepts that I often see families have a little bit of confusion about is the distinction between probate assets and non-probate assets. So I want to bring some clarity to that for you. As a reminder, probate is the process of transferring title or ownership of an asset when a person has passed away. So using that definition, non-probate assets are things that do not go through the probate process. In other words, we don't need to transfer title when the person has passed away because those assets were either, number one, not owned solely by the deceased person, or number two, there was another strategy in place to transfer the title. Here's some examples of non-probate assets. Things owned with another person. So you may have a joint bank account and maybe it has a right of survivorship on it. If one owner passes away, the right of survivorship kicks in and now the other owner is the sole owner of that account. So that's a non-probate transfer. Assets that have a designated beneficiary. Very commonly, you're going to see this on retirement accounts, such as 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, pension plans perhaps. You'll also see this on life insurance policies and annuities. Another example of non-probate assets are things owned by a trust. Doesn't matter what type of asset it is. Could be a house, could be a stock account. If it's owned by a trust, it's very common to be a non-probate asset. And finally, assets owned by an entity. Corporations, partnerships, LLCs, those are very commonly to be non-probate assets. Now, on the other hand, probate assets are things that do go through the probate process when the person passes away because they were owned directly by the individual and there's no other strategy to transfer ownership. Here's some examples of probate assets. In Texas, real estate is commonly a probate asset. Even though that house or piece of real estate may be owned jointly with a husband and wife, it is very rare for that piece of real estate to have a right of survivorship. What that means is that if one spouse passes away, even if his or her will transfers their portion of that real estate to their spouse, we have to go through the probate process because there was no right of survivorship on that house. Other examples of probate assets would be accounts such as bank accounts, stock accounts, or investment accounts. If they're owned solely by the deceased person and there's no designated beneficiary, it's going to be a probate asset. And very often in our discussions about estate planning, we're going to talk about strategies that will flip these probate assets over into the non-probate category.